Hi, I am Cesar Santos and today I'm going to show you my first painting on canvas ever. Just quickly though, I want to let you know, Hurricane Irma decided to go to the west of Florida, so it didn't hit Miami head on. I still have friends without power. I lost a couple of my favorite trees around, but I already planted 5 more trees. We're all good. Let's continue with our work. I don't want to think about hurricanes anymore, so let's talk about my first painting ever. I've always believed I was born to be an artist, and I spent a lot of time drawing and coloring with crayons or color pencils, never with paint though. I did some sculptures with paper mache and other materials. We immigrated from Cuba to Miami in 1995. And 3 years later, I was in high school, my first year in high school, and my project was to do a symbolic self-portrait. The first thing that came to my mind was that traumatic and deep experience of that transition from Cuba to Miami. Seeing my parents stressed out, learning the language. It was so chaotic of an experience to know that you're abandoning your country is kicking you out forever, and you might not be able to see your family again, you might not be able to go back. Actually, after 17 years is that they gave me permission to visit my own country. I decided to do that project of the self-portrait as an allegory of that transition from Cuba to Miami. Remember, this beginning of my career I took very serious because for the first time I decided to become an artist, and the best way to start that career was to get accepted into one of the best schools in the nation, Design and Architecture Senior High. I was not the best technically in the classroom. I had friends that were much better, and I remember looking at their work and being super impressed. As an example, I want to show you 2 of my friends' work at that time so you can see that compared to my skills they were very advanced. I have here my yearbook from Dash, and I want to show you Mitch Alvarez did this self-portrait. He did a self-portrait that was pretty cool because he had his girlfriend kissing him. He ended up being a designer. His drawing was a little bit designy, and you can see that he had a sensitivity to that. And here in another page we have a drawing by Jose Ortez. His technique was so good with pencil and very architectural, very refined, and he became an architect as well. That's why you should always look at your work from early on, because that work will tell you your tendencies, your natural ability that will probably guide you to a better future. Okay, it's time to show you my self-portrait from that project. Ta-da! My first painting ever is tempera on canvas. I never took many formal classes for painting before, and I was freaking out because I needed to do something good for the class. So I decided to go and look for some books. I remember loving a portrait by Albert Duder where he has his curly hair, very elegant look, and I will be mixing my colors and touching the page of the book and wiping it to see if I will get the right color for the flesh. That's how naive I was, that I thought I was gonna match exactly the colors from the page of the book and try to have it. Obviously it didn't work. That was my first attempt in trying to copy the look of a master artist. As time passed, I developed my techniques, and I've done many copies that actually work much better. Click here so you can see that vlog on copying masterworks. I told my mom to get me a nice mirror so that I can look at myself to do the self-portrait. I actually had a suit with me. I put it, and every day after class I will come and paint my self-portrait looking at the mirror wearing a suit. Let me talk to you a little bit about the symbolism behind my self-portrait. In the background, I've decided to put just a symbol of Cuba, the Morro Castle, which is in Havana. Cuba is being covered by this cloudy sky, but through the clouds there is a little bit of hope shining through that Cuban flag that I decided to put there. We can see that across the ocean is me, well dressed, with the face. I can actually do pretty good with my movement of my eyebrows, so I decided to use that movement. One hand is secure, that wants to make this move, the other hand a little bit more cautious. I'm crossing the frame into a new world, into Miami, into America. The whole idea about this painting is me looking forward to what's coming up as a future in terms of artistic expression, because by this time I've decided to become a painter. One little detail to notice is that I signed my name Cesar Perez 1998, and Perez is my last name. If you look at my Wikipedia page, you can see that my original name is Cesar Raúl Pérez Santos. Raúl and Pérez I took away when I became an American citizen and kept the Santos from my mother, even though I love both my parents equally and I have a great relationship with both of them. I decided to get my mom's last name, not only because she was carrying me for 9 months, but also because she dedicated her whole life to having a great family and our well-being. And I decided to keep her last name as a tribute to that. I remember putting a lot of effort into this painting and I thought I was gonna rock the world, and when I presented to the class, the teachers will be super impressed and the classmates will be also impressed. Now I look at it and the only reason I thought it was great is because it was my best example at that time. I did the best I could, I got prepared, I painted it, I was impressed with this piece, and I took it there thinking that it's gonna be amazing for everybody else, when in fact it was just amazing for me. As soon as I presented the painting to the classroom, the teacher didn't give me such a good grade, the students were not impressed. She said that it was too sentimental, and that is actually, that word sentimental is actually a bad word in contemporary art language. That also got me to think that at whatever stage in my career, if I think something is good, it might not necessarily be good. I might be falling into the trap of believing it's good, but in art, there's no good or bad. It's all about the way you express yourself. Sometimes we get lucky and people tend to like what we produce, what we are searching for. But the goal is to just try to be honest and express yourself as best as you can and as pure as you can. And hopefully people will be attracted to that. Because the moment you are personal, you can be at the same time universal. And if you hit that note, you will see people attracted to your work because you struck a chord with the universe. Because you were honest in finding your own truth. But I decided to keep it because it was my best effort at that time and I was so proud of it. As I got better in time, I kept some of my examples. Every time I did something that would record an advancement in technique or something, I wanted to keep it to remind myself that that was my best to that point and see the progression in time little by little. If you find yourself stagnant with technique and you're frustrated because you're not moving as fast as you envision, make sure that you look back a couple of years and see if that's the reality, because you might be getting better, but just not as much as you would like it to be. Another way to see your art and to get frustrated is by thinking that you have arrived already, and that is more dangerous because you will not get better in time. Technique in art is like a river. It's always moving, always searching for that bigger concept, the ocean, which is the ultimate goal of a river. Let's wrap this video up. Here, I present the first painting I've ever produced. It is just a relic I don't want to lose.